This video is about Kaguya descends from moon but demons chase. If this myth excites you, please like the video, share it with friends, and write in the comments how it pulled you into the adventure. Kaguya descends from moon but demons chase. In the ancient world of Teva, where the mountains kissed the sky and rivers weaved like silver threads through emerald valleys, the moon glimmered with an otherworldly aura. Legends whispered of its heart a maiden, Kaguya, an ethereal being woven from the silken threads of the cosmos. For centuries, she had watched over humanity, a guardian draped in moonlight. Her beauty was a radiant echo of the moon's glow, and her spirit was a bridge between the heavens and the earth. But the tranquility of her celestial abode was shattered one fateful night when shadows twisted and coiled like serpents. Demons, summoned by the dark sorceress Yuri, descended from the depths of the underworld. Their eyes burned with malice, and their claws dripped with the essence of despair. "Bring her to me." Yuri's voice echoed in the void, a sinister promise that sent shivers through the hearts of mortals and immortals alike. As the demonic cord fell upon the earth, Kaguya felt the tremors ripple through the cosmos. Her heart, tethered to the world below, quickened. She had seen the suffering of humankind and the darkness that threatened to consume them. With a heavy heart yet resolute spirit, she summoned her celestial essence, transforming it into a radiant beam that cut through the night sky. Kaguya's descent was magnificent. The moonlit path glimmered behind her, illuminating the land that had long been overshadowed by despair. As she touched the earth, her presence birthed blossoms, luminous and vibrant, pushing back the encroaching shadows. But she knew the demons were not far behind. "Foolish mortals," one of the demons hissed, its voice like the rustle of dead leaves. "Your savior has come, but she will perish as all must in the face of darkness." The horde cackled, and their laughter echoed through the valleys, a chilling portent of the chaos to come. Kaguya stood upon the sacred ground of Hiroshi, a village that had once thrived under the moon's benevolence. The villagers, sensing her divine energy, gathered with hope glimmering in their eyes. Among them was Takashi, a warrior forged in the fires of battle, known for his unwavering honor and bravery. With scars telling tales of past victories and losses, he stepped forward, determination etched on his face. "Lady Kaguya, we are honored by your presence," he declared, kneeling before her. "We will fight alongside you against these demons. We will protect our home." Kaguya gazed upon him, her heart swelling with gratitude. "Brave warrior, your spirit ignites the flame of hope, but know this, the battle ahead is fraught with peril. The demons thirst for my capture, and they will stop at nothing to reclaim me." Just as she spoke, the ground trembled violently, and from the shadows emerged Tsubaki, the demon lord, whose monstrous form towered over the villagers. His eyes, as dark as the abyss, burned with unholy desire. "Your light is but a flicker in my shadow, Kaguya," he roared, sending forth a wave of darkness that threatened to engulf the villagers. In that moment, Takashi drew his sword, a gleaming blade that shimmered with the essence of the moonlight, and stood resolutely before Kaguya. "We will stand against you. We will not let her return to your grasp," he bellowed, rallying the villagers and warriors around him. The battle erupted like a storm. Takashi lunged at Tsubaki, his blade aimed true. The clash of steel and claws resounded through the valley, sparks flying like stars in the night sky. Kaguya, channeling her celestial power, wove barriers of light around the villagers, shielding them from the demon's wrath. "Fight, my children," she urged, her voice a melody of strength. "Your courage is the light that will banish the darkness." Yet the demons were relentless. With each swing of Takashi's sword, more fiends emerged, their laughter echoing like the howls of the damned. The villagers, armed with makeshift weapons and hearts full of valor, fought bravely, but the tide was turning. Despair threatened to choke the hope of the villagers as Takashi found himself pushed back by Tsubaki's monstrous might. "You think you can protect her?" Tsubaki sneered, his voice a deadly whisper. "She is destined to return to the moon. You and your kind are mere mortals, and your lives are fleeting." But Takashi refused to surrender. "We are not defined by our mortality," he shouted, the fire in his heart igniting his strength. "We fight for what we love, we fight for Kaguya." With that battle cry, he surged forward, a whirlwind of hope and fury. Drawing deeply upon the power of the moon, he unleashed a blinding strike, sending Tsubaki staggering back. The villagers, inspired by Takashi's bravery, rallied behind him, their spirits igniting into a fierce bonfire of defiance. But Yuri was not done yet. The dark sorceress, cloaked in shadows, emerged from the depths of the battlefield, watching with delight as chaos unfolded. "You think you can win against fate?" she taunted, her voice a melodic chime that twisted into dark laughter. "You are mere pawns in my game." Kaguya felt the pull of despair wrap around her heart. "Do not falter," she called to her warriors. Together, We can forge our destiny. I will not return to the darkness. With newfound resolve, Kaguya raised her arms, summoning the moonlight to descend upon her. Ethereal energy enveloped her, transforming her into a radiant beacon. With the light of the moon, I will shield you, she declared, her voice echoing like thunder. Yuri's laughter faltered. No, do not. But it was too late. The brilliance of Kaguya's power surged forth, and in an explosion of light, the demons were momentarily blinded. In that moment, Takashi seized the opportunity. With a rallying cry, he charged at Tsubaki, delivering a swift and powerful blow that sent the demon sprawling. The villagers, emboldened by their goddess's light, pressed forward, driving back the demon horde. But victory was not yet in their grasp. Tsubaki, enraged, rose once more, his fury igniting like wildfire. You will pay for this insolence, he roared, summoning the dark energy swirling around him. I will feast upon your despair. The battlefield shook as dark tendrils surged forth, wrapping around Takashi and the villagers like serpents seeking to strangle hope. Just as despair threatened to consume them, Kaguya's voice pierced through the chaos, soothing balm to their frayed spirits. Remember your strength, remember your honor. With her rallying words, the warriors found their footing. Takashi, fueled by the essence of Kaguya's light, broke free, his sword now a blazing beacon of hope. For honor, for Kaguya, he shouted, leading the charge once more. As they pressed forward, Tsubaki unleashed another wave of darkness. But Kaguya, glowing with celestial energy, conjured a shield of light, absorbing the demon's malevolence. You cannot extinguish the light of humanity, she proclaimed, her voice a clarion call. The battle raged on, both sides pushed to their limits. Takashi fought with every ounce of strength, every fiber of his being, while Kaguya wove spells of protection, a luminescent guardian amidst the storm. The demons shrieked in fury, but their darkness faltered before the unyielding spirit of the villagers. In that moment of chaos, an unexpected twist unfolded. Amid the fray, a figure cloaked in shadows emerged, Yuri, the sorceress, her eyes glinting with malevolence. You are weak, Takashi, she hissed, weaving dark magic. You cannot win against destiny. As she unleashed a torrent of shadowy magic, the very fabric of the battlefield shifted. The villagers staggered, the air thick with despair. But Kaguya, sensing the peril, surged forth, her essence intertwining with Takashi's resolve. Together, we can defy fate, she cried, a radiant aura enveloping them both. The clash of their combined powers ignited the battlefield, illuminating the darkness with blinding light. The villagers, heartened by their goddess's courage, found new strength within themselves. Let our light shine brighter than the darkest night. Takashi roared, charging into the fray, determined to protect Kaguya and his people. As darkness and light collided, the legend of Kaguya's descent began to take shape, a tale woven through the threads of destiny, honor, and the indomitable spirit of humanity. But the battle was far from over. The demons, led by Tsubaki and Yuri, would not relent easily. Fate of Kaguya, the villagers, and the world itself hung in a delicate balance. Would their combined strength be enough to defeat the darkness, or would destiny claim them in its eternal grasp? The echoes of their struggle would resonate through the ages, a testament to Hash Hash Hash. Kaguya descends from moon, but demons chase Part 2. As Kaguya's luminous essence melded with Takashi's fierce determination, the battlefield transformed into a tempest of light and shadow. The air crackled with energy, a palpable tension binding the fates of all who stood there. Demons, filled with rage, lunged forward, their claws slashing through the air like thunderclaps, but the villagers, emboldened by their goddess's presence, stood fearless against the tide of darkness. With me, Takashi shouted, his voice rising above the din, a rallying cry that stirred the hearts of his comrades. Together, we are stronger than any shadow. The warriors surged forward, a wave of hope crashing against the dark horde. Takashi, leading the charge, struck valiantly with his moonlit blade, each swing illuminating the night with arcs of shimmering light. The demon horde recoiled, shrieking in anger and confusion as Takashi cut through their ranks, his every movement a dance of defiance. But Tsubaki, the demon lord, was not easily deterred. His hulking form loomed over the battlefield, a smirk etched onto his grotesque visage. You think you can win? He shouted, his voice booming like distant thunder. You are mere mortals. Your courage will lead to your doom. With a guttural roar, he unleashed a torrent of black mist that spiraled towards the villagers, tendrils of darkness slithering like venomous snakes. Kaguya, her heart racing, stepped forward, her celestial energy shimmering around her like a protective cocoon. Stand firm, brave souls, she declared, her voice ringing with unwavering conviction. Let the light of your hearts cast away this darkness. As she spoke, beams of moonlight pierced through the encroaching dark, forming radiant shields around each villager. They felt the warmth, the love of their guardian wrapping around them, instilling strength. Takashi raised his sword, the blade reflecting the myriad hues of Kaguya's light. Onward, he bellowed, charging straight at Tsubaki, who snarled in contempt. Foolish human. Tsubaki roared, swiping at Takashi with a clawed hand, aiming to crush him. But the warrior was quick. He dodged, rolling beneath the demon's grasp, and sprang to his feet with a swift strike aimed at Tsubaki's leg. The blade struck true, and the demon held in rage, staggered by the pain. You will regret this. Tsubaki spat, fury igniting in his eyes. I shall carve your name into the annals of despair. But Takashi's heart swelled with resolve, and he pressed the attack. You underestimate the spirit of humanity, he shouted back, launching into a series of rapid strikes, each infused with the essence of the moon. Each blow sent ripples of light through the battlefield, energizing his companions as they joined the fray. Villagers and warriors fought alongside him, wielding makeshift weapons, their faces hardened with determination. They struck at the demons with all their might, screaming for their fallen kin and for the beautiful maiden who had descended from the moon. Each swing of a sword or strike of a spear was empowered by their shared belief in victory. But amidst the chaos, Yuri reveled in the turmoil, her dark laughter ringing like a haunting melody. You are but puppets dancing to the strings of fate, she taunted, weaving dark tendrils of magic. And I shall pull those strings until there is nothing left but despair. With a flick of her wrist, she sent forth a wave of shadowy energy that enveloped the warriors like a suffocating shroud, wrapping around their limbs and sapping their strength. Many faltered, eyes wide with fear as shadows clawed at their very essence. Ah! Kaguya shouted, her voice cutting through the darkness. With a surge of celestial power, she summoned a brilliant light that illuminated the sky, scattering the shadows like mist before the dawn. The warriors felt their strength return as Kaguya's spirit enveloped them, empowering their resolve. Push forward, we fight for each other, for our homes. Takashi's battle cry rang through the air, igniting hope anew in the hearts of those around him. With every ounce of strength, the villagers rallied, breaking free from Yuri's dark grasp. They surged forward, a tide of light crashing against the demons. Takashi, emboldened by Kaguya's radiance, fought with renewed vigor, striking at Tsubaki with unyielding ferocity. But in the throes of battle, the tide seemed to shift once more. A shrieking horde of lesser demons descended upon Takashi and his companions, their claws glinting maliciously in the moonlight. Fear gripped the hearts of the villagers as shadows closed in, threatening to engulf them. In a moment of despair, Takashi felt the weight of destiny upon him. Kaguya, he cried, his eyes searching for her luminous form. We need you. Kaguya, sensing his plea, pushed herself to her limits. Together, we will forge a new destiny, she proclaimed, channeling her celestial essence into Takashi. Light engulfed him, transforming into a radiant suit of armor, ethereal and powerful. He felt invincible, the moon's strength coursing through him like a river of stars. Ah! Kaguya commanded, and Takashi surged forward, the light of the moon empowering each swing of his sword. He cleaved through the lesser demons like a shooting star through the night. The villagers followed suit, emboldened by the divine energy that coursed through them, each strike resonating with the hopes of their ancestors. But Tsubaki was not finished, his fury ignited into a tempest of darkness. You dare oppose me, he howled, raising his arms to summon a cataclysmic storm of shadows. I will draw on you light and eternal night. As the swirling mass of darkness descended upon them, Kaguya's heart raced. We cannot let despair win, she cried, weaving powerful spells of light and protection around Takashi and their allies. We are not defined by our struggles, but by how we rise above them. In that moment, an unexpected flicker of hope ignited within Takashi. With the light of Kaguya, we are unstoppable, he shouted, rallying the villagers for one final push. Fight with everything you have, for our homes, for our future. With a united cry, they charged at Tsubaki as swirling shadows, Kaguya's radiant energy illuminating their path. Takashi led the charge, his sword a beacon of hope amidst the encroaching darkness. The villagers followed, a torrent of determination surging behind him. The clash was cataclysmic. Light and dark collided, a whirlpool of chaos that sent shockwaves rippling through the air. Tsubaki roared, summoning dark tendrils to lash out at the warriors, but Kaguya's light cut through, illuminating the battlefield like a second dawn. Together we can overcome. Kaguya shouted, her voice echoing through the chaos, infusing the villagers with renewed strength. Let your spirits rise and banish the shadows. With every ounce of courage, Takashi swung his sword with deadly precision, cleaving through the darkness that sought to consume them. Each strike resonated with the collective spirit of the villagers, their hearts beating as one, forging an unbreakable bond in the face of despair. But just as victory seemed within reach, Yuri, sensing her impending defeat, unleashed her most potent spell. "You will pay for your insolence," she shrieked, summoning a maelstrom of shadows that spiraled towards them like a vortex of despair. Kaguya felt the weight of darkness bearing down, and in that moment she made a choice that would echo throughout eternity. "I will not let you fall," she cried, channeling her essence into one final act of defiance. With all her power, she created a barrier of light around her warriors, a luminous shield against Yuri's malevolence. The shadows crashed against the barrier, but Kaguya held firm, her spirit unyielding. "Together, we are more than mere mortals, we are the light that defies fate." As the darkness surged against them, Takashi felt Kaguya's energy pulsating within him, igniting a fire of hope that surged through his veins. "Now, strike true," he shouted, leaping forward, wielding his sword with divine precision. The villagers, revitalized by Kaguya's light, followed his lead, their resolve unbreakable. They charged at the darkness, a tide of hope crashing against Yuri's malevolence. The air crackled with energy as light clashed with shadow, a celestial war that would determine the fate of the world. With a final, earth-shattering roar, Takashi plunged his sword into the heart of darkness, empowered by the essence of Kaguya and the spirit of his people. The light exploded, enveloping the battlefield in a blinding radiance, banishing the shadows and scattering the demons like leaves in a storm. As the dust settled, silence fell over the battlefield. The villagers, breathing heavily, looked around in disbelief. Hash Kaguya descends from Moon but Demons Chase Part 3. The silence lingered like a mournful echo, the dust of battle swirling in the fading light. Kaguya's essence, a brilliant beacon, flickered as she surveyed the remnants of the battlefield. The villagers, hearts pounding, stood together, their faces a tapestry of relief, fatigue, and newfound strength. They had triumphed, at least for now. But even in triumph, shadows loomed. "We did it." Takashi gasped, his voice hoarse yet triumphant. He lowered his sword, the blade still aglow with remnants of moonlight. The villagers surrounded him, their smiles breaking through the weariness, but Kaguya sensed the ominous clouds gathering on the horizon. "Not yet," she murmured, her voice a soft breeze against their fervent joy. "The demons will return. Yuri will not rest until she claims what she desires." As if summoned by her words, a chilling wind swept through the valley, carrying the scent of despair. From the edges, the dark figure of Tsubaki re-emerged, his monstrous form silhouetted against the dying light. "You think your victory was absolute," he growled, his voice a low growl that rumbled like distant thunder. "This is merely the beginning." The villagers recoiled, fear creeping back into their hearts. Takashi's grip on his sword tightened. "We will face you again, demon," he declared, his voice a fierce challenge against the encroaching dread. "We will not back down." Tsubaki laughed, a sound that reverberated with malice. "Foolish mortals, your defiance only fuels my wrath. I shall summon Yuri's full power, and together we will extinguish your flickering flame." Panic rippled through the ranks of villagers. Kaguya stepped forward, her radiant presence commanding attention. "Fear not," she reassured them, her voice steady and unwavering. "We stand together against this darkness, and together we will find a way to vanquish it once and for all." As the dusk settled deeper, the air thickened with an uneasy tension. Kaguya closed her eyes, reaching into the cosmos, tapping into the celestial streams of power that flowed through her being. "Listen to me, brave souls," she urged, her voice echoing like a bell. "The time has come for each of you to awaken the light within." With a wave of her hands, she summoned shimmering orbs of moonlight, each floating towards the villagers. They enveloped them, igniting a spark of bravery and strength deep within their hearts. Takashi felt the warmth surge through him, filling him with an unwavering sense of purpose. He met Kaguya's gaze, and in that moment, a silent vow passed between them, a pledge to protect their home at any cost. But Tsubaki was not passive. Drawing upon the shadows, he conjured a tempest of darkness that swirled around him, growing stronger with each passing moment. "You may have won this battle," he snarled, "but the war is far from over." With a roar, he lunged forward, a beast unleashed, and the battlefield erupted once more into chaos. The villagers braced themselves, their hearts pounding in unison, fortified by Kaguya's light. "Together!" Takashi bellowed, charging towards Tsubaki, the moonlit blazed high. The villagers followed, united, their spirits entwined like the roots of an ancient tree. Kaguya, resonating with their energy, weaved spells of protection and light around them, illuminating the battlefield. As Takashi met Tsubaki, their blades clashed, sending shockwaves through the air. The demon's strength was overwhelming, but Takashi's spirit burned bright. "You will fall," he shouted, channeling the essence of the moon into his strikes. Each blur radiated a light that cut through the dark mist surrounding Tsubaki. "Your light is but a spark in the abyss," Tsubaki roared, countering with a sweeping strike meant to cleave Takahashi in two. But Takahashi ducked just in time, rolling to his feet with agility born from desperation. "We are not afraid of the dark," he shouted back, launching himself forward with renewed vigor. The villagers rallied around him, wielding their makeshift weapons with newfound determination. Kaguya's divine energy flowed through each heart, a symphony of courage resonating in the air. They struck as one, a tempest of hope against the looming darkness. But Yurei, lurking in the shadows, was not idle. Her eyes glinted with malice as she began to chant an incantation, summoning dark forces unseen by the naked eye. "You will regret your defiance," she taunted, her voice weaving through the air like a venomous serpent. "I will forge your doom in shadows." Kaguya sensed the gathering storm. "We must disrupt her magic," she cried, her voice filled with urgency. "Takahashi, gather the villagers, we will form a circle of light." Without hesitation, Takahashi shouted, "Form a circle, protect each other." The villagers swiftly moved to obey, their hearts synchronized with Kaguya's radiant energy. They clasped hands, creating a barrier of light that pulsed against the encroaching darkness. Yuri's dark magic surged forth, shadows writhed like serpents, seeking to break their formation. But Kaguya poured her essence into the circle, each villager feeling the warmth radiate through them. Together, she called, her voice a clarion call against despair. "We are the light that banishes the darkness." The villagers chanted their own battle cries, their voices intertwining like a melody of defiance. The circle pulsed with an intensity that pushed back against the encroaching shadows. Yuri's eyes widened in realization. "No," she screeched, her spell unraveling against the might of Kaguya's light. "Now, Takahashi," Kaguya urged, her voice soaring above the chaos. "Strike true, show them the strength of your spirit." With a fierce roar, Takahashi broke from the circle, the moonlit blade glimmering with celestial energy. He charged at Tsubaki, who was momentarily distracted by the bright surge of power emanating from the villagers. "This ends now," Takahashi bellowed, channeling every ounce of strength into his sword. The blade connected with Tsubaki, a cataclysmic clash that resonated like thunder across the valley. The demon lord staggered back, fury etched across his grotesque face. "You cannot best me, human," he spat, rage fueling his movements. But the villagers, emboldened by Kaguya's light, surged forward behind Takahashi. "We fight as one," they cried, each strike of their weapons harmonizing with Takahashi's fervor. Kaguya, sensing the tide of battle shifting, summoned radiant orbs that swirled around her, amplifying her voice. "Let the light of the moon guide your hearts, let it fuel your resolve." Her energy surged through every villager, igniting a fierce fire of hope that burned against despair. Tsubaki, realizing he was outnumbered, roared in frustration. "I will not be defeated by mere mortals." With a wave of his claw, he summoned a tempest of darkness, swirling shadows that lashed out towards the villagers. "Feel the weight of despair." But Kaguya's light met the shadows, a clash of powers that sent ripples through the air. Takahashi, fueled by the essence of Kaguya, thrust his sword forward, piercing the heart of darkness that surrounded Tsubaki. "We will not bow to you," he shouted, his voice a fierce declaration of defiance. As the sword struck true, Tsubaki held in agony, his form distorting under the radiant onslaught. The darkness around him rippled and buckled, the shadows recoiling from the brilliance of Kaguya's power. "This cannot be," he screeched, panic dawning in his darkened eyes. With a final surge of energy, Takahashi raised his sword high, calling upon the collective spirit of the villagers. "Together, we are unstoppable, for Kaguya, for our future." The villagers erupted into a chorus of cheers, their spirits intertwining with Takahashi's resolve. As he plunged his sword deeper into Tsubaki's heart, a blinding light enveloped the battlefield, the brilliance overwhelming the shadows and scattering them like ashes in the wind. With a final, anguished roar, Tsubaki was consumed by the light, his monstrous form dissolving into nothingness. The landscape trembled, the darkness lifting like a shroud, revealing the moon shining brilliantly above, bathing the valley in silver light. Yurei, witnessing her minion's defeat, seethed with rage. "You may have won this battle, but the war is far from over," she hissed, her form flickering like a candle in the wind. "I will return, and you will regret your defiance." But Kaguya, standing alongside her warriors, raised her chin defiantly. "We will be ready for you, Yurei. As long as we stand together, united, your darkness cannot prevail." The shadows began to retreat, Yurei's form dissipating into the night, leaving behind an eerie silence. That hash, Kaguya descends from moon, but demons chase part 4. As the last echoes of Tsubaki's roar faded into the stillness, a fragile quiet enveloped the battlefield. Kaguya stood at the heart of the storm, her radiant glow illuminating the weary faces of the villagers. They had triumphed, but the taste of victory was bittersweet, mingled with a salty tang of fear and uncertainty. "Is it over?" the one villager murmured, his voice barely above a whisper, eyes scanning the horizon for any sign of returning darkness. Kaguya felt the weight of his question hang heavy in the air. "The darkness will always seek to reclaim what it has lost," she said, her voice a soothing balm amidst their fraying nerves. "But we have proven that light can conquer even the deepest shadows." Takashi, still clutching his moonlit sword, stepped forward, determination etched into his features. "Then we must prepare. We've tasted victory once, but Yuri will not rest until she exacts her revenge." He turned to the villagers, his gaze fierce and resolute. "We cannot allow fear to cloud our hearts." With renewed fire igniting their spirits, the villagers rallied, their voices rising in fervent chants of solidarity. Kaguya's heart swelled at the sight. These were not merely mortals, weavers of fate, guardians of hope. She felt the pulse of the moon within her, a gentle reassurance that this struggle was not yet over. But as dusk turned to night, the skies darkened ominously. A rumble of thunder rolled across the horizon, heralding the return of the sorceress Yuri. "You thought you could banish the darkness?" her voice echoed, sinister and melodious, slicing through the air like a blade. "Foolish mortals, you have merely stoked the fires of my vengeance." Emerging from the swirling shadows, Yuri's form shimmered like liquid night, her eyes glinting with malevolence. Prepared to witness despair unlike any you've known. With a flick of her wrist, she summoned a tempest of dark magic, the wind swirling violently as the ground trembled beneath their feet. "Brace yourselves," Takashi shouted, instinctively stepping before Kaguya, the protective warrior shielding his goddess. The villagers gripped their weapons, hearts pounding as shadowy tendrils lashed out, seeking to ensnare them in a web of despair. Kaguya raised her hands, summoning the celestial light that had once banished Tsubaki. "Together, we are the light," she declared, infusing her aura with the hopes of her people. Her essence flowed through Takashi, empowering him once more. The shadow tendrils struck like vipers, but this time, the villagers were ready. "We will not falter," they shouted in unison, thrusting their weapons forward. Moonlight met darkness, a dazzling display of resilience that lit the battlefield in stark contrast. Yuri snarled in frustration, her eyes narrowing. "You're but fleeting sparks, easily extinguished." She lifted her arms high, conjuring a swirling vortex of shadows that spiraled violently toward the villagers. "Stand strong, do not let her words fill you with doubt." Takashi called, his voice a rallying cry. With a mighty swing, he cleaved through the shadows, scattering them momentarily. "Remember your strength." The villagers answered, fighting back with all their might. Each swing of a sword and thrust of a spear reflected their unyielding spirit, a testament to their love for their land and for Kaguya. The battlefield crackled with energy, the clash of light and dark a symphony of chaos. Kaguya's presence surged among them, her essence intertwining with their strength. "Let your hearts guide you," she urged, her voice a melody that resonated through the air. "We are the guardians of our fate." But Yuri was relentless. With a guttural cry, she unleashed a wave of dark energy, tendrils snaking toward Takashi. "Your light cannot save you," she hissed, her voice dripping with contempt. In that instant, Takashi felt the weight of despair pressing down on him, but he drew upon Kaguya's strength and the hope of his comrades. "No," he roared, defiance surging through him. "We will not be silenced." He surged forward, slicing through the tendrils like a comet through the night sky, the moonlight surrounding him like a protective shroud. "For Kaguya, for our future," she screamed, unleashing a flurry of strikes against Yuri's dark form, each blow infused with the relentless spirit of the villagers. Yuri staggered, momentarily caught off guard. "You dare challenge me," she shrieked, fury twisting her features. "You will pay dearly for your insolence." But Kaguya, sensing the shift in the battle, raised her hand high, summoning a barrier of shimmering light. "Now is our moment. Let our united spirits push back the darkness." With her command, the villagers surged forward, their hearts ignited with hope. The radiant barrier expanded, enveloping them in a cocoon of celestial energy. Together, they cried, melting their spirits into a singular force of light. The battlefield erupted in a cacophony of sound as the shadowy tendrils collided with the barrier, sparks flying in every direction. Takashi, emboldened by Kaguya's power, thrust his sword forward, breaking through the storm of darkness. "We fight for each other, we fight for our home," he bellowed, his voice echoing against the heavens. Yuri, realizing her hold on the shadows was slipping, unleashed her most powerful incantation. I will shatter your spirits, she screamed, summoning a swelling vortex of darkness that threatened to consume everything in its wake. The sky darkened further, a tempest brewing overhead. But Kaguya stood unyielding, her radiant essence expanding even further. "We are not afraid," she proclaimed, her voice a beacon of hope cutting through the encroaching despair. "Your shadows cannot extinguish the light of humanity." With a surge of divine energy, she directed the barrier toward Yuri, a blinding wave of moonlight crashing against the sorceress' darkness. The clash sent shockwaves rippling through the battlefield, a collision of wills that echoed like thunder in the air. The villagers, inspired by Kaguya's unwavering spirit, pushed forward, driving their weapons into the heart of the darkness. "For Kaguya, for our lives," they shouted, a chorus of defiance that resonated through the valley. As the darkness coiled around Yuri, she screamed in fury and desperation. "You will regret this day," she howled, her form flickering as the light began to consume her shadows. "I will return, the darkness is eternal." But Takahashi, fueled by the collective spirit of the villagers and the unwavering light of Kaguya, charged at Yuri. "No, this ends now," he cried, his sword a blazing comet aimed at the heart of Shadow. With a final, powerful strike, the blade pierced through the darkness, illuminating the battlefield in a radiant explosion of light. The very essence of despair shattered like glass, scattering into the wind as Yuri's form dissolved into nothingness. As the dust settled and silence reclaimed the valley, Kaguya stood amidst her warriors, her heart swelling with pride and relief. They had fought and triumphed against the darkness, but she knew the battle had changed them forever. "Look around you," she said softly, her voice a gentle caress. "You are not just villagers anymore. You are the guardians of this land, defenders of hope. Together, we have forged a bond that no darkness can sever." Takashi, breathing heavily yet triumphant, stepped forward. "We fought not just for ourselves, but for each other, for the light that will guide us through the darkest times," he said, meeting Kaguya's gaze with admiration. "We will stand watch, always." As the moon rose high above the horizon, casting its silvery light upon the land, Kaguya felt a deep sense of fulfillment. They had faced the demons of despair and emerged victorious. Yet she knew, deep down, that their journey was just beginning. "Let this night be a reminder of our strength," Kaguya declared, her voice echoing through the night. "We may face darkness again, but as long as we stand united, we will shine brighter than ever before." The villagers cheered, their voices rising like a symphony into the night sky. They had forged a legend, one that would echo through the ages, a tale of courage, love, and the unbreakable spirit of humanity. In the heart of Teyvat, under the watchful gaze of the moon, they embraced their destiny, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. And thus, a legend of Kaguya, the Moon Maiden, and Takashi, the brave warrior, grew a tale woven into the fabric of time, a testament to the enduring light of hope that shines even in the darkest of times.